That you have joined us for this session of Devtoberfest. This is a special post TechEd, all the great announcements that we had. So we wanted to have a Q&A, and we thought what better way to have the Q&A than with someone who made so many of those announcements in the keynote. So we're joined by Michael Ameling. Welcome, Michael.
Hello, Josh, and hello, everyone. Great to see you.
It's awesome. Thank you for being here. So any quick intro or quick top of your mind thoughts on how the TechEd keynote went?
Yeah, happy to do so. Actually, for me, of course, it was a very exciting event, also with a little bit different experience. I hope you could follow this. But so far, we got a lot of positive feedback overall on the TechEd, and also we see this even in the numbers, yeah, on the attendees and the like all over. And of course, after TechEd is always before TechEd, so we are already in the plans for the next one, which will be even announced soon. But maybe let me jump rightly into the topic. Yeah, it's Devtoberfest time again. Yeah, so again, basically, it's a pleasure to meet you all also in that community, because it's really important that we have this exchange. And for sure, there are some questions after TechEd, so happy to jump into these ones. But maybe let me shortly recap, despite, let's say, or let's say, in addition to all the announcements which we did, of course, with a strong focus on AI. And of course, one highlight for me is, of course, how we bring together a little bit ABAP and build. Yeah, since I'm fully aware there's a huge ABAP community out there. But even, let's say, again, strengthens the momentum also of SAP HANA Cloud. Yeah, even with now innovations like the SAP HANA Cloud, yeah, knowledge graph engine with the vector engine, which we did before. But this all wouldn't count with basically without usage. Yeah, and now meanwhile we are with roughly 27,000 active customers, yeah, on BTP. We have more than 2,800 partners using BTP. So a big kudos, yeah, to this community here. And of course, we need even more multiplier, because talking to customers, there's a strong demand on knowledge on these new technologies, on BTP overall, but also business transformation management and the like. And of course, this is where this community can also help, yeah, to serve basic the needs of our customers and the like. And then secondly, I mean, in addition to the announcement, of course, for me, it's also important is we all are aware that we are in the enterprise context and that we run basically in multinational environments. So that for me, also the announcement regarding 11 new BTP regions on our partners, AWS, Microsoft, Google, but even on our own SAP data center is really, really crucial to meet the needs. Yeah, so, and of course, we expand it even further, but I hope this gives you a little bit of directions, yeah, that we plan for growth. Yeah, of course, serving the needs of the existing customers, but this all wouldn't work with the community. This all wouldn't work if we don't spread basically the words about the knowledge, yeah, how to leverage basically and add immediate value. And therefore, happy to jump now a little bit into the questions. So, Josh, right? So maybe you can tell me a little bit also from the dev advocates and also from the dev community. So from what is the dialogue? So what are the questions? What's the sentiments? This would actually help a lot.
Yeah, no problem. And we're also joined by two other developer advocates. We've got Thomas Young and DJ. And so I will let those guys comment as well. For me, I got the pleasure of hosting a Zoom call live during my community welcome at TechEd. And the feedback from that was really knowledge graph was well received. So that was the sentiment I got. I don't know if DJ or Tom, you want to jump in real quick with what you've heard?
DJ, you're on mute.
Yeah, absolutely. The discussions that I picked up on chat and just generally talking to folks during and after TechEd was around knowledge graph and how that basically sort of tied into the whole move towards, an even stronger direction with AI. In particular, I really like the idea that it's based on open technologies. Again, this is a theme that I'm as a developer, a long-time developer with SAP, I love to see. So of course it's based on RDF, right? But the purpose of the knowledge graph is super important and maybe not that well understood. So maybe Michael, you could tell folks a little bit more about that.
Yeah, happy to do so. And actually, I can even echo that feedback. Yeah, so there's a strong interest in that one. But the question is why? because it basically unlocks basically how we can even access the data and bring even the knowledge, as the name says, yeah, bringing it together. Actually, we trained it with, let's say, 80,000 or let's say 250,000 business objects and 80,000 CDS views, yeah, to bring a little bit what belongs together, because we all know that a simple table is great, yeah, using it for AI and the like, but putting it into context, this is basically adding the value. And this is basically, of course, based on as what I mentioned earlier, so the SAP HANA Cloud Knowledge Graph Engine, so the vector engine to even, let's say, add additional knowledge, and now putting the semantics on top, so putting it into context. And now, of course, we must not forget we are serving products across the entire value chain of our customers. Also maybe in procurement, in HR, in finance, and the like. And now having access to the data right where you need it and into the context, this is basically where knowledge graph basically helps. And this is also where the excitement comes from, because it really helps in the end the business user, to get even better insights, into data. And of course, leveraging AI in the business context across the value chain.
Yeah, I love it. It's really one of those almost automagic things that like it's just it works, and it's so cool to see it demoed as well as the stuff we can talk about later, maybe with the roadmap. But we do have our first question out there. So I know you and I have talked a little bit prepping for this call. Some of the questions we got in the background about ABAP. Well, Javier has a question. He says for all the ABAP slash 4 developers, I'm assuming HANA S4 developers out there. It's highly recommended to go beyond their comfort zone and start embracing the ABAP cloud as a future-proof programming language. So how would you wrap that around any of the ABAP cloud, steampunk kind of conversation?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks actually for raising that question and even that topic, because this is also for me top of mind. Why is that? I mean, we have a very large ABAP community. Yeah. I think it's roughly, 5 to 6 million basically all around. And of course, they are working in very crucial environments and helping our customers, to build extensions, and serve the needs basically on the business demand. But of course, ABAP evolved towards ABAP Cloud, writing modern ABAP and the like. And you could argue, so yeah, of course, there are also other options with Java, JavaScript, and the like. But I think for me, it's important. I mean, there are certain skills out there. There's, of course, a strong business need. And yes, ABAP is strategic. So maybe we can clarify this question also here. Yeah, really important to me. But how can we basically support this community to wide it basically to the strategic ambitions which we have, for example, leveraging the clean core strategy, right? So meaning using standard APIs, writing modern ABAP in order to achieve upgradable, and stable systems also for the future. Yeah, and of course, this is a little bit of change, because maybe it limits the one or the other what are used to do. But of course, we are doing our best to support this community to do this. Let me call it transformation. Sometimes it's a minor change. Maybe it may be perceived as a larger change here and there, but we want to support them. And of course, starts with the tooling. Yeah, so with ADT, of course, getting basically AI for code explanation, for recommendation, writing modern ABAP code. And some people ask me also, why does it take you so long to write an ABAP LLM and the like? Yeah, so the whole point is, yes, there's huge knowledge about ABAP, but most of the written code is ABAP Classic. Yeah, but we want to have basically support the users with modern ABAP. This is why we used S4HANA public cloud code basically to train that model, and of course helps there. I hope this puts us a little bit into context, but clear message for me. It's definitely strategic. Yeah, we are investing in that area, and of course we want to support you to write modern ABAP cloud in a cloud environment. Of course, we have it in Steampunk available. We have it, of course, as S4 available and the like. And of course, we are improving for the tooling, so that you as a developer, you can focus on what you want to achieve. Yeah, and this is maybe writing a business code, and not technical code, basically as such. I hope this clarifies a little bit and puts this into context.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I see another question in the chat from Sarab. How do we extend notification events, not data events, using RAP? I'm afraid there's not enough content out there.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe let me check on that one. What are the specific needs? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the notification is always a topic in all environments. Yeah. I mean, we even consolidated certain notification services, especially on in the cloud in the CAP environment. On ABAP, let me check. Yeah. So
Okay.
I cannot answer immediately, but let me check on that one. I hope that's fair.
All right. Here's a slightly fun one that I always love to see. Will SAP ever slow down on rebranding and renaming of topics and products?
Um, yeah, let me start with that one. Maybe yes, I'm also, maybe from a personal opinion, it takes long time until a brand basically gets established into the market. And yes, if you are the owner of a brand, for example, you think, okay, I've talked now about this 3 years. No, everybody should know about it. No, that's not the case. It takes more than 3 years basically to get the brand into the market and the like. Um, I hope you see consistency. What we did, for example, with Build, so that we started, for example, with an involvement of starting with build apps, then build code, putting it into the build family, putting ABAP into the game. And yes, we didn't remain it to build ABAP or something like that, exactly to this purpose, not to confuse everyone with rebranding. Yeah, sometimes it is a challenge because then people ask, okay, is it now, it's named different, so is it a different product and the
Wait,
like?
can you double click on that and dig deeper then? What is ABAP Cloud? Because that is ABAP is if we hashtag ABAP on anything, we get the most views. So
Yeah.
let's dig deeper on that one. What is ABAP Cloud?
Yeah, so ABAP Cloud is not Steampunk. I think that's that's the first statement, but it's a programming model. Yeah, exactly helping basically to develop basically cloud native. Yeah, writing a modern ABAP code. So it is a programming model. Yeah, I think this is important to note. I know this is a little bit confusing in terms, but it's a cloud application programming model. Yeah, and also the RAP, right? This is also basically a little bit of challenge. I know we are trying to fix this, but then again, we come into this challenge. Yes, we could fix it, but it would mean even rebranding again. Yeah, and this is what we tried to avoid. For me, most important is that we deliver the right tooling and basically the right products, basically to serve your needs. Of course, with commercials, with let's say the product family, it plays a role. Yeah, but I hope you see a little bit consistency also in the rebranding overall. I mean, we really give our best, and also I know that there's a lot of decisions on my table. Yeah, do we change the name and the like? Yeah, but we are very much more consistent. Hopefully, over the last years at least. I hope you see this and feel that. But give us also feedback if you wish for rebranding. Yeah. So, for example, if a certain name like ABAP Cloud, yeah, does not resonate with you because you have a different understanding from that name, then we are happy to change that. So your feedback also counts. Yeah. So happy to help that, but please take into account there's a large community, there are plenty of people, different perceptions. It's not an easy manner, yeah, to do the right branding. Yeah, but I hope this clarifies a little bit.
No, definitely. And I think the team can also back me up here. We talk to the community a lot and we hear from them in the field. We're doing a code jam and they'll come up and they'll say, we really like that things like steampunk made it into the popular availability because that gave SAP kind of a little attitude
Yeah.
and they
Maybe
like that.
maybe I can add one point to that one, just to give you a little bit the challenge on that one. For example, what you see a lot around is agents. It's the hot topic, let's say also in AI. Yeah? So to drive agentic behavior, yeah, in let's say enterprise systems and the like. Yeah. So now we could easily say, yeah, there is an agentic huge framework, agentic behavior all over, and you see this very much across, let's say, the entire, let's say, IT market where a lot of these terms are used. But yeah, looking a little into the details, sometimes we are talking about or let's say others are talking about agents, but these are simple workflows. Yeah. This is not really true agentic behavior. Now the question is, do we want to be, let's say, go into this marketing, yeah, and go there basically for agents all over, yeah, or do we do it right, yeah, and basically talk about agentic behaviors when we really have agents talking to each other, maybe from different domains and the like. And we decided for the latter one, yeah, because we want to basically have a branding which basically has behind what is also basically meant by that. So this is one of the topics, for example, challenging. Yeah. So just to give you a little bit more context on that one. I hope this helps.
No, definitely. There were so many announcements at TechEd. I'm wondering if you can go through with all the products and features that aren't yet available. Can we confirm the timeline for these? Is there something? I know a lot of people said different things during their sessions about Q3 versus Q2. Like when is stuff coming out? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, number one, firstly, I would like to refer you to the TechEd news guide. Yeah, because for every announcement which we have there, yeah, we have actually delivery dates on that one. And yes, for TechEd, of course, we always ambition that we have products who are released at that time, yeah, and not that much further. So the maximum is basically Q1, basically next year. Yeah. But of course, you can imagine that there are also certain release cycles in between. So this is why we have some also forward-looking timelines as such. So give you example, Q4. Yeah, so SAP built an ABAP cloud, the AI agents, the extensibility wizard, the SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud Edition, the extensibility wizard, yeah, the data lake capabilities, the integration adapters for SAP integration suites. This is all in Q4. Q1, for example, that's where we launched the Juice Studio. Of course, we launched with a beta one in before. Also, the Knowledge Graph engine in HANA Cloud, basically for general availability, the GenAI toolkit for HANA Cloud, the Analytics Cloud Compass. This is all Q1. And then one basic more forward-looking is the script optimization, for example, in the integration suite. That's, for example, in Q1, Q2 next year. So I hope this put it into context. I know this was a little bit quick, yeah. So, but it's all in our Roadmap Explorer, and it's all basically in the TechEd news guides. This is where you find all the dates, yeah. So it's definitely the commitments which we are also taking. And if I look back and I look very seriously on, do we adhere to our roadmap? Yeah, because I know that we always get the feedback. A product is the product itself and the roadmap. Yeah, and of course, you rely on us and you want to build on that one. So this is something where we also look very, very strongly that we adhere to our roadmap. It doesn't always work, I know, yeah, but in most cases, and if I look over the last spec, it works. We are very serious on that one. So please have a look at the news guide, and then you see basically the roadmap, and I just outlined what's coming.
Perfect. I'm not going to throw something too deep at you without warning, but something in the chat, it's a little vague, the wording. It's asking how we can expedite some standard APIs. So I'm not sure if you just have a general framework answer about our API process and how we release them that you want to give us.
Yeah. So number one, what I hope you see this change. I mean, we have been working on our integration efforts for more than 5 years now, where we doubled down on bringing the LOB applications like SuccessFactors, Ariba, Fieldglass more and more together. Yeah, one of the challenge was, of course, the heterogeneity of APIs. So whenever you want to do integration, yeah, APIs play a crucial role. And of course, they have been even distributed all over. So where can I find all these APIs? So number one is we defined an API strategy, which clearly states that every API which is publicly available, you can find on the SAP Business Accelerator Hub. Yeah. And you see that that's more than, now it's even more than 3,800 APIs are published there. Yeah, so, and all over, from S4, from Concur, from SuccessFactors, of course, BTP and all over. So all APIs are published there. Yeah. And of course, we follow even certain standards. So RESTful APIs or data version 4 for the future ones all coming and the like. So we defined a clear strategy in terms of APIs which are available and where they are published. And why is that so important? We strongly believe that openness, yeah, you touched this a little bit earlier, is key. Yeah, no customer on earth basically has an SAP only footprint. Yeah, there are always third-party extensions, other solutions also in the place. The landscape is more challenging or complex in terms of on-premise system, cloud systems, and the like. And this is what we need to reflect. And APIs are the key for that one. Yeah, I hope this gives a little insights into that one. So we have a clear API strategy in that one. We publish all in the Business API Business Accelerator Hub. You see that we also go for consistency in terms of security standards, basically also the payload. Yeah, you see basically a very strong, let's say, more aligned structure across them so that you have a better interchange between all SAP systems and the like. And yes, also here, open standards. Yeah, even of course, them you can basically includes them in standard tooling, as such. So that's also, of course, what we rely on.
Okay. There is a little bit of chatter. DJ, can you actually recap
Yeah.
the chatter in the chat? It's kind of scrolling for me. I know Javier had some comments about APIs while
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
talking.
No. There's a great follow-up question on what you just said, Michael, from Javier. Basically talking about concept of clean core, it not being new. Clean core has been around for a long time, a concept. I'll sort of read Javier's question sort of verbatim. With the concept of released APIs with stability contract behind and the ABAP cloud, we can say that SAP's strategy is to give the option to achieve a real clean core. But now the question, how much time will be needed for SAP to make available for all the customers out there enough released APIs to avoid cluttering customer systems with tier 2 wrappers? So basically, how much time have we got to achieve that clean core, given the continued rollout of these standard APIs?
Yeah, thanks for this question. I think if I would summarize it into let's say the core ask is, so when are all APIs available, basically for all your needs in S4, basically, which are then basically clean core adherence, so the public APIs. Yeah, I know that there are some use cases which cannot be done as of today because not all APIs are available, basically in the tier 1, tier 2 approach. It will take some time. You can imagine that the size or the pure magnitude, order of magnitude of APIs is immense. But of course, what we look in is, of course, we prioritize in terms of usage. Yeah, I mean, there are really some APIs which are very hardly used. Yeah, and of course, this will take longer, or even we might even decide not to do them to a certain extent. Yeah. But of course, for the majority, of course, we know which APIs are most used mostly. So there is a roadmap behind where we are intensively working on. What we did as mitigation, we did recommendation. Yeah, so there are basically existing APIs available, which are most likely not to change. So it's not 100% guarantee, but it's a nomination basically, which we did because there's actually no technical reason or anything else which we foresee that this may be changed. Yeah, so this is as a mitigation plan which we rolled out, and then I hope this helps. So there was the nominations so that you can ensure. But I think relying on this, you can cover, I would say, most of the use cases. I know that there's some very individual ones. Of course, you can develop also your own API still. I mean, this is still valid. Yeah, I know that there will be the one or there's a case where you will have that need, but I would refer to the nomination so far, because it will take some time. You can imagine, thousands of APIs and change that. There's some effort behind, and this is a balance, of course, which we need to do.
Sure.
Okay. And Michael, I know we're coming close to the end of the time, so I've got one question that might be an easy, quick one for you to answer, and then I know you've got to head out to your next meeting. This one DJ's going to like because he's a CAP guy here, but we use VS Code, and with this SAP extension for CAP as our main development environment for CAP, can we access and use Joule outside of SAP build code in VS Code too?
Yeah, how did I know that this question comes? Yeah, because of course I use Visual Studio Code too. Totally fair questions. I mean, strategies, of course, we first start with SAP Build Code, where we build it in. I'm fully aware that Visual Studio Code is the standard tooling, for all our developers. Yeah, so please give us some time. Yeah, I'm very confident that we will have our answer pretty soon. Yeah, but so the starting point is of course with Build Code, and then of course fully aware where our community is working on and what tools I use. And this is what I started also earlier with openness, and I hope you see that. Yeah, we rely and we support. I mean, with the plugins basically for Visual Studio Code, for CAP and the like. Of course, this is where we start. I hope you feel it and you see that. Yeah, so we fully accept which tooling you do on a daily basis. And of course, you will see also there pretty soon then the respective availability of the service which you need. Because in the end, we want to have, of course, adoption and help you basically to do the right development. And that's the environment where you're working on. So I want it myself.
No, look, and that's the thing is, I know you got to go in a second, but we
Well,
love hearing you say that because when people in different levels of this company know that the decision makers are aware of what the community is saying. It's so important. So thank you for acknowledging that and being one of us.
Yeah, no, definitely, and of course it even goes all over. Yeah, we discussed about APIs. Yeah, I know there's at least over the past 10 years until the license change, Postman, for example. Yeah, heavy use, of course, when we have an APIs and the like. And of course, so this is where we can do partnering, we can do discussions with them and on the tooling. You see this with GitHub, yeah, also all over. So we are fully aware what you're using, but please, if we are sometimes not, please give us this feedback. Yeah, sometimes strategies are also changing. There are new tools are coming up. So, for example, well, one thing for the designer community, yeah, and it's also very important community. Of course, Figma is a de facto standard. Yeah, this is why we, for example, started to partner with them. Yeah, and look how we can support the designers, for example, with standard UI5 stencils and the like. Yeah, so we are really looking deeply into that one. So which tools you are using on a daily basis, and if there are new ones coming up, or you see certain trends and the like, please give us that feedback. Yeah, that we can start as early as possible, because we want you support with environments which you're used to, yeah, where you work best with, and then of course integrate also with our respective services and tooling, and then hopefully it helps you, and then we have a win-win situation. Yeah, happy developers. Yeah, and of course we can fulfill the needs of our businesses.
Perfect. I could keep you for another half hour, but I know you got to run soon. So any final thoughts if you want to wrap up? And then we'll stay online just so that everybody knows. We have a few other questions for the community we'll answer, but anything that you want to wrap up with?
Yeah, actually, first of all, I want to say thank you. Yeah, because this community is very, very active. Yeah, thanks to you also, DJ, Thomas, Josh, and everybody else. Yeah, and from the dev advocates. Yeah, it's so crucial to have you, because you give us feedback, you help us basically shape, and of course, you also contribute heavily to TechEd and all over. That's so crucial. So big thanks first of all here to you all, and also the entire community. Secondly, feedback is always a gift. So please, let's have these discussions. For me, it's important that we have these questions and basically react towards to your needs. Yeah, so it's an interplay where we need to work together. And then, of course, lastly, please make use of the material. Yeah, so of course we put a lot of efforts into the learning. I know this sometimes the question is, where do I get started? We have the SAP Discovery Center, we have the Business Accelerator Hub and the like. So we put a lot of efforts into that, and on learning.com. Yeah, we have all the learning content upgraded and the like. So please make use of that one, but please give us also feedback where you struggle and the like. And to give you also hints, I mean, you may have seen that we have just did an acquisition of WalkMe. Yeah, and of course we will integrate it also into our solution to see where you are stuck and the like. Yeah, so hopefully from that perspective you also see some positive directions which helps you on your daily basis to improve. Yeah, all what counts is that basically we have a, let's say, happy and efficient community. So that's basically our ambition. Yeah, and then of course I know that there's a TechEd is not over, so we have the TechEd tour events. So the next one is the Tech Connect with ASAC. Yeah. So I think I will be there. Yeah. And looking forward to see, of course, a lot of you there. And keep on coding. Yeah. So that's a core message. Yeah. Maybe in ABAP, maybe in Java, maybe in JavaScript. Yeah. So please keep that energy. Big thanks to you.
No, thank you so much for your time. I don't know, DJ, Tom, any final thoughts from you guys?
I love the wrap up. Keep on coding. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, very good. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here today.
No, don't refer to the busy schedule. It's a matter of priorities. Yeah, and this is the most important community. I mean this honestly. So please, let's take that, yeah, for BTP, and of course even beyond that. Yeah, so let's take this into account. And again, kudos to the entire community here. Good.
I can't wait to see which community member just cuts that one part out where you said this is the most important community and just cool. Thank you so much. We're going to keep rattling through some of the other community questions that we got that weren't necessarily directed at you. So we still have a little more time left. And I know you got to run. Thank you again for your time. And if you want to join us at any time, do another one of these, we'll make it happen.
Perfect. Yeah, happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye.
Wow. So I think that was exactly what the community needed to hear back. It started to get pretty active there in chat. At one point, I was actually pinging you in the background, Tom and DJ, because it was starting to scroll. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
wow, there's a lot of activity and chatter. Is there something you want to recap real quick that I may have missed?
I think the discussion has been great. I mean, it's also nice, talking of community, it's also nice to see some, and I used this phrase earlier in the chat, some usual suspects. So there's some folks like, like Javier and Gaurav and who else was there? I saw Todor and Douglas. They're regulars on our Hands-on SAP Dev live stream show. It's really nice to see folks come back time and time again. And actually, now I've got the microphone. I've got a question for Tom, for our
I
fearless
can
leader,
mute you
Tom.
though. I think I still have that power.
Well, in fact, it's very hard to wrest the microphone off you, Josh. But I like that situation. Um, One of the things that Michael said was evolve. The verb evolve, and everything's evolving. Everything from the platform, clean core, and so on, and languages and use of open source and tools and technologies and standards and everything. Um, and another area where we're evolving is, this whole AI thing, right? And while a lot of developers are embracing it, wholeheartedly, there are some, and I think I count myself amongst this group, who are a little bit more, not skeptical, but a little bit unsure as to what direction things are going, especially with generative AI. And one of the things that Michael said was, and I think this was an announcement at TechEd, wasn't it, that we're starting now to see with Joule and the generative AI facilities, code explanation and help with documentation search, as well as what we've initially seen, which is, of course, code generation and data generation. I mean, I want to ask you or Tom and the folks in the community as well, put in the chat what you think. What do we all see as AI's role, continued role development in programming and in development in general.
Oh well, I'll throw some thoughts in there first, I guess. I kind of explain it, or I like to think of it like people must have thought when compilers first came out. And I think there's probably some of the same people are worried that AI is going to take their job, right? And I can only imagine, I wasn't there when compilers were first introduced, but people were used to coding in low-level machine code, and then a compiler comes along, and I'm sure some of the programmers thought, oh, well, this is going to take our job away. The compiler is going to do the work for us. They're not going to need programmers anymore. And everybody's going to be able to program. And of course, that wasn't the case. Compilers are a great usability tool compared to actually coding in the machine language, low level, but they didn't replace the developer. They just made them more efficient. And I think, whether it's the introduction of compilers or 4GL or object oriented or any of these major innovations that we had in the realm of writing code, AI is another one. It's another tool. It's another way of making developers more efficient and allowing us to focus on, creating logic and creating value through that logic. But it will no more replace the developer than introducing compilers did replace the developer. It actually brought more people into the industry, but it didn't make it so that anybody off the street could write code, because there's still you need a certain mindset, you need a certain skill set. Writing code isn't just about knowing the syntax or the IDE. There's an element there to it that goes way beyond the technical aspect of just generating code. And that's where AI fits in here, where it's going to facilitate all of that and make us more efficient, but not replace us. That's where I think we're headed.
Yeah, I
Facilitate,
agree. I
not
think it's
replace,
a
right?
situation. Oh, sorry, DJ.
No, go ahead, Josh.
So it to me, we so we do a lot with solving business problems at SAP. And you don't necessarily have to be a programmer or even want to talk to a programmer, somebody who can code to get your business problem solved. And that's where AI can bridge that gap. We've always been chasing that the holy grail of what is our rapid prototyping tool? What is the way that I can say to you on a napkin, this is what I need you to solve? I open my SAP, SAP GUI, and it's doing 17 things before I get to the final thing I need to fix. And maybe if AI can help someone shortcut what they're trying to do with Fiori, and they don't need to understand how HTML5 works versus whatever else, like they don't need to know the difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. What they need to do is ask their question, and I know, but ask the question in a simple way. Here's something. I did that little stupid, cute question and answer backstage, and they said, "What's your favorite code?" And I said, I like Node.js. And someone calls me out in the comments, the only comment. They said, that's a runtime, not a programming. My point is, I like using JavaScript, and I like how with a mobile device, you can get the runtime to interface with your JavaScript. So, but look, I don't know that AI is going to replace us at all, but I think if you don't have to teach someone in accounting what a CRUD operation is, that's that's nice. We don't have to tell them that this is how you're going to interface with it, and you need to do these things to make a change work correctly on the back end to an SAP system. They'll never have to learn what BOPs are. It's just, this is where I think it's efficient.
Everybody should know what a BAPI is. Come on, Josh. Come on. That's like table stakes. But I mean,
I've
in all
met a
seriousness,
lot of the great talent that we're hiring and a lot of the great people we interface with that are not SAP users at a company. They have no idea. So, for example, a lot of my friends, when they find out I work for SAP, they go, well, we use something of you guys. And it turns out to be like Concur or Ariba or
yeah.
SuccessFactors. And these are things that were invented without, in their own vacuum, needing to talk to a BOPI. So, that now is the responsibility of an entire SAP development team at that company to interface. How does their Concur system work with their SAP S4 system? And so they're thinking about solving those problems with hopefully the help of AI, right?
I mean, to be fair to SAP, I think things like BAPIs or SAP specific concepts like BAPIs are actually a result of SAP being first to do something in the enterprise software industry. So, a BAPI is just an API with extra bits and pieces and so on and so forth. So, there are maybe terms that we use that have become more widespread in terms of concepts. So, I think again, SAP has been around 50 years and has developed and nurtured stuff that folks are starting to use now, which I think, well, yeah, this is obvious. Obviously, this is a thing, but no, it wasn't a thing back then. BAPIs weren't a thing back then. But I wanted to go back to what Tom was saying about will AI replace us as developers? I personally don't think it's the main question or the main fear is will it replace us? It's what's it going to do? What's it going to do for us? And the way I look at it is that we're still in the first phase of the relationship, and in the honeymoon period, or I don't know what the phrase is, where we have this generative AI and it generates code, and the code's not always right, and we have to fix it and everything, and that's where a lot of the skepticism I think comes in reality. However, I got a glimpse with some of the TechEd announcements that we may be starting to move into phase 2 or phase 1.5, which is, for example, with Joule Studio. Rather than just be users of a tool such as Joule, generative AI based tool, we are now going to have the facility to be developers of that tool and to build out skills that then we can then use and distribute as well. So we have Joule Studio to build out Joule skills, but we also have, going back to what we discussed right at the top of the hour, the knowledge graph and the knowledge graph engine on SAP HANA Cloud. And that again is something that is going to be used for grounding stuff that we use AI for. We're grounding the LLMs, but also the knowledge graph itself is something that we as developers can use in a raw fashion too, right? So
Yeah, and I had a couple of great sessions just to cut you off about Joule. We had Devtoberfest sessions for SAP Build, and Miguel, the last 2 weeks, hosted some great sessions on Tooling Tuesdays.
Yes.
And he showcased exactly what you're talking about, using Joule in the studio and building your own skills. So you're not taking canned SAP things that don't apply to your situation. You're taking your SAP environment and you're building a dual skill against it. And I said to him, this is great, but how are we going to document this? It's ever changing. It's so quick moving. And that's where he pointed to what Michael said, the learning journeys. So go to learning.sap.com, look for the learning journeys, try to keep up with this knowledge as it's coming out and evolving. And it's kind of nice that we're not embracing everything day one 100%, because then every large language model, everything would be attacking the users to try to learn and figure out what to do. And then we might have to turn one off next week. So we're doing a bit of a graduated approach of what is tested, what is proven, what's not going to hallucinate every time I ask it a question, and then rolling that out against the SAP code.
I'm very conscious that go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
I was just going to say you're when you said when you described the AI agents attacking the user, I had this image of like a courtroom drama where the prosecutor is interviewing the witness and starts badgering them.
You can't handle the code.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, talking of that, I did pick up on some conversations post TechEd, maybe some misunderstanding of what these agents are, this whole agentic agenda. Oh, yes, agentic agenda. With that, before TechEd, before the TechEd virtual earlier this month, if you'd have said the word agent in a software context to somebody, I think most people would think of an agent in terms of something, some sort of anthropomorphic bit of software with which you interact to get something done. That's, think of a chatbot. But unless I'm mistaken, these agents that we're talking about now are very much not that. These agents are self-contained background tasks, almost tasks that have a very specific knowledge about a very specific part of the business, and they can go off and do. I'm deliberately trying to avoid the term autonomous, because that's not really the point of the agents, but effectively think of them as background tasks that can run on their own, go and do some research, go and dig into the data, go and follow the knowledge graph, and then surface the results. Okay, so these are very different. What's that thing? There are two hard things in computer science: naming things, caching validation, and off by one errors, right? And so we're using the word agent here for something that actually is quite different to what we understand, or what a lot of people understand agents to be. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of what we're talking
So it's
about now?
close. I think you must have been prepping so much for your session in Heidelberg that you didn't watch when Nora and I were speaking and how she described agents to me and the agentic approach. And that's forgivable. I know that when you're doing your thing and you kind of became the center of attention in Heidelberg, so I understand why you didn't.
Wow.
So look, but did you see Nora describe the dishwasher? She's basically saying, I want the AI to do my dishes. I want it to go out there and take over and take, the process of cleaning the dishes, but it doesn't know what a dishwasher is. It doesn't know what it means. And you have to teach these things from the ground up what to do in the context, to your point, DJ, of they have to literally be taught not only what it is and fed that information, they have to learn contextually what to do with it once they have that knowledge. So I think if we, again, product naming, you could ask it to name something, but it doesn't interface with an attorney. And then it's got to check and make sure that we're not going to get in trouble legally for using a name that may exist incorrectly in another language somewhere else. So there's all these things that you learn from doing the process, and that's a real example I've had to deal with. I volunteered a name for something, and they go, no, that won't work. But you learn these things by doing, and we have to teach AI everything or give it access to where it can learn the context. So
you use a phrase that is very close to my heart and close to the heart of those who were regulars on the Hands-on SAP Dev Show: learning by doing. That just reminds me to remind folks that where we are on this learning journey right now. So we've had almost the whole of Devtoberfest. We're in week 4. We're on day 4 of week 4. So we got today and tomorrow, and that's the end of the Devtoberfest 4-week wrapper around TechEd Virtual. We've also got, as Michael mentioned, the TechEd on Tour events. There's the ASUG related one. Where is that? In Florida or something?
Yeah, so West Palm
Yeah.
Beach is actually a good dovetail. We're running out of time, I think, soon. So
Exactly. So there's one in
Yeah.
Florida, there's one in Copenhagen at the same time with SAP Insider. So those are the next two in-person events. But there's all sorts of learning that you can do online as well, continued, right? And also we're going to start up the Hands-on SAP Dev show again after this whole sort of Devtoberfest and TechEd thing is finished.
So this Devtoberfest thing is amazing. We are in week 4. What is Friday's Fun Friday event, Tom? It's a
It's
Spooktoberfest.
Spooktoberfest.
Booktoberfest. So how does somebody participate in that part to get points for the grand prize and the challenge and get to Nerdvana? What is for Spooktoberfest? Do I just go out and take a picture of Halloween decorations?
Actually, I don't know what the rules are. I've been so focused on getting my own costume ready. I know it's something Halloween related in costumes, but what is it? DJ, do you know offhand? Michelle prepared that one.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I've just posted
Okay.
Michelle a link to Michelle's blog post in the chat here and on the YouTube. Basically, you can do either one of or all of the following: write about a spooky tech story, take a picture of some spooky decorations, take a picture of you in a costume, etc., and then post it on that discussion before the end of day on October 27th, which is end of this full week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So then, Tom, I'm going to put you on the spot. How can we keep expanding Devtoberfest to more year-round stuff? Like, what is our schedule? We've got these two ASUG
Yeah.
events and insider events coming up next month, and then we've got more stuff on the calendar.
Yeah, well, we have the full Tech Ed tour, which is the ASUG event in Florida, the Copenhagen event with SAP Insider. Of course, then we have Australia with the SOGEX and the UKI event as well. All that's happening by the first week of December. And then we will have an event in April of 2025 with the SAG, bringing the Tech Ed on tour there. And I what you see is we're trying to make tech ed more than just that 2 or 3 day one thing, right? That we've always had as part of tech ed. That will remain, and we see we're starting to see some of the early plans for next year. Nothing that's been announced yet, but we've gotten a little sneak peek, and we're pretty excited about what's planned for next year. But it isn't just about that core experience. It's Devtoberfest as well. To bookend Tech Ed as we've done for the last 5 years now. This is the 5th year for Devtoberfest. It's our code jams that we do all throughout the year because we realize that Tech Ed on Tour is great for bringing, the Tech Ed experience, the hands-on experience, developer garage, and things like that to a few locations, and we want to do more next year, but we can't bring it to everybody, every location. But the co-jams we can bring to a ton of locations. We did over 100 co-jams already this year. And, if you're nowhere near a Tech Ed on tour or a major Tech Ed location, but you can get 20 to 30 of your fellow SAP developers together and host us in a room, we'll join you and deliver a code jam. So that can be a great way to bring the tech ed experience to smaller groups and more remote locations. Like you and Antonio did a great tour through Latin America, and we want to hit a couple more of those locations next year in 2025 that haven't been touched in a few years. Not that we have exact locations to announce yet, but we want to do at least one more Latin America roadshow next year, and we want to do a similar roadshow in Asia, hit Japan and South Korea, some locations that I know we haven't been to with CodeJams in a couple of years. So if you're interested, particularly if you're in those locations, let us know. We can already start planning for some of those events next year. And we just want to keep this tech ed experience and energy available to the community all year round.
Awesome. So I will try and grab real quick in the community the link to the CodeJam page where they go and request
Yeah,
one.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got two sections there. I talk a lot about the community navigating the website. It's kind of tricky, but there's a group section for code jams, and then there's the event section. So go to the group section to learn all about code jams and be able to actually take part in that. And then if you want to go and look at the calendar where we have these events scheduled, you can go over to the actual different tab for the community, which is called events, and then scroll down to the different sections for all the different code jams that have been scheduled, along with Devtoberfest and Inside Tracks and Stomptish and all these great things we do to actually get out there and meet with you guys in person, which we do understand and we hear you. We want to be in person as much as possible. It's just a matter of scale and priority. So get your request in that website, the community website, as quickly as you can. Because the more you request and are vocal about where you want us, and I can go get coffee with Antonio Mardiaga, I will go down there and get coffee. And this is a hot take. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody I met with. The coffee in Colombia, it's exported all over the world for a reason. That was very much the best coffee we had in the four countries. All the coffee was delicious and amazing, and it was good everywhere. Don't get me
What a
wrong.
diplomat.
Colombia was, as expected, a notch a little higher. So, yeah, love me some coffee. And definitely, if you can get down there and enjoy coffee in Colombia, there's lots of great places. A lot of great coders. Dolce de Leche, I mentioned that in the chat as well. A lot of sweet stuff happening down there. And that's part of the thing that I enjoy about doing these code jams and meeting with the developers is answering their questions in the room in real time, and then going over and having a break and standing around and just chatting. And that real-time interaction is what's so amazing. Kind of we're so lucky we take it for granted. The three of us, all of our team, we get to sit and chat with each other during the week when we have nothing else to do, right? But it's a nice it is nice. Like, look, I'm looking at the clock. There's 6 minutes left in this hour, and we could talk for another hour and 6 minutes because it's just nice to have no other pressure but to just chit chat about code and TechEd and Devtoberfest. I'm trying to scan through some of the other preloaded questions. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to address real quick because we are running out of time.
Well, actually, Saurabh has made a really good point that Tom and I are discussing on the chat in response about the different places for content. So Saurabh originally said, "I love the GitHub SAP samples." Or that's an org on GitHub where lots of repos are. Can all things across all events be documented there so it becomes one place of tutorials? Reminds me of some sort of what's that film? Lord of the Rings, One Ring to Rule them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, that would be nice, but there are different tools and more appropriate platforms for different things. So we have the tutorial navigator, which of course is at developers.sap.com. For the tutorials, and that we want to do that. Still continues to host tutorials there because you can mark that you've done the tutorials, and that sort of adds up to your profile and everything. We can track that ourselves. But where it comes to source code, and Tom made a really good point, for example, it's not just random sample code, it's also all the TechEd sessions, all the code for the TechEd sessions are also in the SAP samples organization. All the content for the code jams are also, the code jams that we run, that we've just been talking about, are also in the SAP samples organization. So there's a lot more than just, quote unquote, just code samples in there.
Cool. Tom, any final questions or thoughts you wanted to wrap up with?
No, I this has been a great session today. I appreciate everybody joining and being so interactive in the chat. It's always fun to have so much discussion going on. That's really great. Appreciate people taking their time out of their day to join us. And in particular, since this is near the end of Devtoberfest, just a big thank you for everybody who's participated and made Devtoberfest such a success. I recorded a news item for this week that will come out on Friday where I do a little recap of Devtoberfest, but a preview that is we've had over 60,000 individual attendees at Devtoberfest. 60,000. I mean, that's a great showing from our developer community and great involvement from the developer community. And it wouldn't be much fun to do this if we all just sat in empty rooms and talked to nobody. It's so much more enjoyable to deliver the content when we have a nice interactive audience as we've had today. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I mean, it echoes what Michael was saying. And thank you again to Michael for what he did in the beginning and joining us and being there for the community. And ask your questions in the chat, in this YouTube chat. And if we see them and we can ping them over to Michael, if we can't answer them, we will. But he mentioned 27,000 customers, I think, and 2,800 partners using BTP. And that's kind of like the funnel. And we're filling it up with people using it. And then they have questions, they want to understand it better. And we've kind of seen Devtoberfest as this de facto additional learning.sap.com sidecar. And I like that people are getting the knowledge they need and they're interacting with the product owners and all these gracious people that are hosting sessions for us and sharing their knowledge. So it's just been funny for me, it's been phenomenal just on Tooling Tuesdays, which is where I've been working with Daniel and Rekka and Srini and team. And they've done a great, amazing job organizing that. Antonio's had his integration focus, which was, I believe, yesterday was the last one for that. Today, everybody's going to get very angry because it's Mad Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then we've got so the machine learning, AI, and data, and then to I guess Friday is our last front end Friday and Fun Friday, all wrapped into one. So
Yep.
the 5 weeks blew by so quickly, and that pause in the middle, we were so focused on tech ed, it seemed like it barely paused Devtoberfest. It never really stopped.
Yep.
In fact, it went so fast I lost my hair.
I know the feeling.
I don't.
No.
That's about it, right?
And on that
Yeah.
note, I don't have bombshell. I think it's time we wrap this up. Thank you guys in the community. We really do appreciate you. You make this your SAP community. So we're here as advocates, but we're caretakers of your community and we're doing our best. And we appreciate all the feedback you give us. And that's it from me.
And from me.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. All right. Stream is ended. All right. We had 121 people on.